Would it be inappropriate for me to email my ex-boyfriend several years later? We dated on and off for almost 5 years. We were each other's first serious relationships. We broke up 6 years ago. He was such a kind, smart and caring person and the best boyfriend I've ever had. He impacted my life in a lot of ways. I'll explain more about this below. The main reason I first thought of contacting him was because a friend that we used to hang out with in college died recently in a tragic freak accident. I'd confidently guess he has no idea since neither of them were much on social media and don't have much overlap socially besides me. So that's the first thing I wanted to share. Then, my mom asked about him and how he was doing these days, and it made me start to think more about him. I don't that much in general. All things considered, I reflected on our relationship, his positive impact in my life, and how great of a person he was. I even then went looking for, and then found a few old letters he wrote me. 29-year-old me was blown away at his intelligence in all senses of the word and compassion that 19-year-old me at the time couldn't fully grasp. It's always interesting looking back at things when you're older. Years later, our final breakup 6 years ago wasn't dramatic. It was a slow burn that fizzled out until we both started dating other people. We had a civil and caring end, but removed each other on social etc., and haven't had contact since then. All this to say, I felt it could be nice to write him a little note just to share the news and my recent reflections with him. I wouldn't be at all writing with an intention to get back together or to re-establish steady contact. I hope that's obvious. Would it be inappropriate to write him? Frankly, if you simply wanted to inform them of a friend's passing, you wouldn't be going through all of this mental gymnastics and reminiscing a lot of your past history. I wouldn't if I were you. I wouldn't be at all writing with an intention to get back together or to re-establish steady contact. I hope that's obvious. With all the gushing above, no, it's not obvious. That said, there's nothing wrong with reaching out or even rekindling, as long as you don't go in with any sort of expectation. The only weird thing would be using a tragic freak accident to break the ice. I think it would be inappropriate to use a friend's passing as a segue into your reflections. To me, that just screams that the message isn't about the friend at all. You can ask how he is and maybe express an interest in keeping better contact after all these years. But please don't lump them into the same conversation. From the outside looking in, it just looks bad. If you want to share it with him, do it at another time if he seems receptive to keeping some form of contact. Wanted to edit to clarify, I think it's a good thing to let him know about the friend. I know I'd appreciate it if I was him. I think you need to be honest with yourself about that steady contact part. If you only wanted to reach out to inform him of a mutual friend's death, which is appropriate and normal, you wouldn't be reminiscing about how great he was and reading his old letters. It's not inappropriate, but reading your long paragraph reminiscing about him makes it seem like there's other reasons you want to contact him, and you probably shouldn't. He hasn't reached out to you in the 6 years. Just leave him alone. Also, you don't know if he's involved with someone or maybe even has a family. Tread very carefully. Maybe I'm not up to speed on social norms, but I don't think it's meaningful to reach out and tell someone about a person they didn't connect with socially outside of association with their ex, nor made an effort to keep in touch with, has died. What's the goal? To interrupt his day, let him be sad and grieve this person he didn't think about for half a decade? I think it's an excuse to talk to your ex and inevitably reminisce about when you were together and hung out with the now dead dude. You've been on and off for those years you did date, so it's clear you guys are prone to beating a dead horse. Leave it. I think if you're going to do it, you have to do some reflection and be honest with yourself about your intentions. Like if you just want to kindly inform him about your mutual friend's passing. That sounds fine, but it would be highly inappropriate to be throwing feelings like that at him. How would you feel if someone emailed you out of the blue saying, "Hey, friend died. P.S. I think I love you"? That's an emotional roller coaster waiting to happen and really messed up. I'd personally focus that energy towards someone new. Going backwards is rarely a good idea. From what I experienced anyway. Neither of you hurt each other. As long as you can approach it without expectations, go for it. This happened. I thought of you and wanted to let you know and also say that I hope you're doing well. If he responds, great. If he doesn't, that's okay too. This post could read, "A mutual friend died and I think my ex would want to know. We haven't spoken in 6 years, but it was amicable. Is it appropriate to tell them?" But it doesn't read like that at all. This was a love fest and you're hoping if they're single you'll reignite something. I mean, even mom likes him. Under these circumstances, I don't think it would be inappropriate to write him, but be careful. He might think you want to get back together or re-establish steady contact. Oh my gosh. Just do it. There's nothing wrong with telling someone who was a big part of your life that you're thinking of them, that you wish them well. His response might not be what you want it to be, but that's life. Several years ago, I reached out to an ex after their father had a heart attack just to let them know that I was thinking about them and wished them the best. We'd had a volatile relationship, but it had been over a decade since we'd spoken. In the course of our conversation, we both apologized for our parts in contributing to such a messy relationship. It gave me closure that I didn't think I needed. I would let him know about the friend passing. Let him know you are well and think of him fondly. Hope he is also doing well too. And leave it at that. I would honestly just inform him of the friend's passing. Dumping nostalgia where it might not be wanted or appreciated could be a bit much. If he opens up the door to reminisce, then you could share your feelings. I would not tie it to a death notice. Though, I get that you mean well and I think it's very kind of you to think about doing that. But, not the right time. And he might not be open to it. At least not at the same time as hearing bad news. Don't email him. Imagine if your ex, not this one but some other hypothetical one, emailed you 6 years after a breakup, years where you two didn't keep in touch, just to say, "Hey, this guy we knew in college died. And also I really feel grateful for the relationship we had." I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. It feels like there's an ulterior motive to the message. I would appreciate to know if a common friend had died, to be honest, but if he just write okay and doesn't follow up with more talking, texting, leave him be. You initiate contact, but he needs to follow up or else you would be a bit creepy. Just my 2 cents. It's not that deep, like people trying to make it. You contact him and tell him of friends passing. Go from there. If he is in a relationship, it's up to him to not make a connection. If he's single and not interested in talking to you, he can do that. You aren't stalking him, FFS. Contacting him to let him know of your mutual friend dying is to let him know it is for him. Your urge to share everything else here is based upon your emotions and nostalgia for a person who has never, ever sought to keep contact with you in any way it is for you. What you do with these facts is up to you. I thought it would be nice to write him a little note. I think you're deluding yourself that this is about sharing news of someone's passing. That's never a nice note. And the fact you went and found old love letters really seems like this is not about sharing some tragic news but a vehicle for being back in contact. You say you don't want to get back together. And that may be the case. But you clearly want to insert yourself in his life again.